Good morning. It's Friday, November 20th, about 6 a.m., 40 degrees out, still dark. I'm here in the Talmadge Hill train parking lot in New Canaan, about half a mile from Waveny Park. I've parked my car here. This will be my aid station for the Yeti 100-mile virtual challenge that I'm going to kick off right now. So just heading out of the train parking lot. I'm going to start off with a 2-minute walk, just get warmed up. We're heading from the parking lot to Waveny Park. There's a little bit on the road, headlamp on, and we will see how we do. This is the train station for the Metro North train that takes commuters in and out of New York City from Connecticut. So we're about 15 minutes into our run and doing these roughly 3-mile loops, just passing by the New Canaan High School, the track, or do my workouts. The New Canaan High School in the background with the lights on as the moon is setting and the sun is slowly coming up. So we'll keep going. 2-minute walk, 3-minute jog or run. Got to get going here. So about 3.5 miles, 40 minutes into my 100. Looks like the sun is coming up. It's beautiful here. Morning with these cornfields and on top Waveny House. So we're doing another 2-minute walk and then a 3-minute run. Good morning. So absolutely loving this opportunity. It's perfect temps. 40, supposed to go up to mid-50s by the afternoon and then cool off again at night. But above freezing, dry. Had to make a call to do this a week earlier than I wanted to. Wanted to do a Thanksgiving week, but the weather looked very iffy next week, mostly rain and some snow. So had to make a quick call and yeah, get it done. Sun up. Six miles in, hour and 15 minutes or so. Feeling good. Early in the game. About an hour and a half into my 100. So I wanted to just share that I'm doing this solo. Running by myself. It's a virtual 100-mile Yeti challenge. Running by myself. No other runners on the course. At least not doing 100. No pacers. No crew. Self-supported 100%. So as I mentioned at the start, I have my car parked at the Talmadge Hill train station, and I have shoes, clothes, food, hydration, medical supplies in my car, and I have to take care of myself. So probably every few loops, particularly as the temperatures change, I'll change my clothes at the car. And we are approaching aid station number 1, quote unquote, Talmadge Hill train station. So 2 hours 15 minutes, about 11.5 miles. Do a quick rehydration, refuel, go rid of the headlamp, and then head back to Waveny Park. That was about a 4, maybe 5 minute aid station stop, back out. 2 hours 20 minutes. We're gonna start running again here, back into Waveny Park. Just a quick check-in. We're about 21 miles into our run, about 4 hours and between 15 minutes and 4 hours and 20 minutes. Just left aid station number 2, my car. Yeah, change shirts, rehydrate, refuel, going back out. So I did a aid station stop at about 10 miles and about 20 miles. And weather's gorgeous. It's you know, in the mid to upper 40s. A little windy, not too bad, sunny, dry. And we're doing the 2-minute walk and 3-minute run. So we're gonna get going here in a couple of seconds. Check back with you later. We're approaching 30 miles here. We're gonna head back to the aid station for a 3rd time. Feeling a little low, a little dehydrated, a little low in calories, so need to tank up, make sure I stay on top of that game, and then keep going. The sun's going down and evening's rolling in. So we're at 45 miles in. Just went and picked up my headlamp. The sun's gonna set pretty quickly here. It'll get dark within the next 30-45 minutes. Not gonna lie, the wheels are coming off. Body's starting to hurt. Hips, legs, feet. Aerobically doing okay. Mentally doing okay. Just want to make sure I can finish. This is my 2nd attempt at 100. This is the virtual Yeti 100. I ran the real Yeti 100 a couple of months ago and I DNF'd. And mile 71 had to drop out due to a hip injury. Being conservative, the overarching goal here is to finish my first 100. So I know what it feels like and I can learn from it and improve and hopefully do another one. But we got to finish one first. So no DNFs. That's why I'm doing a little bit more walking. So in the background, we're passing New Canaan High School again. When I started out this morning around 6 and it was dark, I passed the high school and it's dark and I'm passing the high school again. We just passed the halfway point, 50 miles, in 11 hours and 18 minutes. There was a big drop off between miles 40 and miles 50 for me. More and more walking until I just couldn't run anymore, and I'm now doing mostly walking. Not mostly, I am doing walking. I am walking. Can't even talk anymore. Every body part hurts. There's not one body part that doesn't hurt, and we're just gonna keep going. One of the things that was a game changer for me at the Yeti 100 in September in Damascus, Virginia, were the amazing aid stations, the food, the teams, the service, the smiles, the help. It was awesome. I have a car here, and as I mentioned, I'm doing a solo, self-supported, no crew, no pacer, no cheering squad. So unfortunately no hot food either, and that was definitely a big win coming in at night once it got dark and we're in a pain cave. To have a hot vegetable and bean soup or some quesadillas just made me bounce right back, and I was ready to go roll back out there. And unfortunately I'm going to be dealing with ham and cheese sandwiches and some potato chips and some Coke. Yep, high quality, nutritious, healthy food. Hey guys, we did it. Pardon my hoarse voice, but we finished the 100-mile Yeti virtual challenge. That's right, second attempt completed a 100-mile ultramarathon. It's Sunday morning and I'm back in Waveny Park for a reflection walk. Please join me. I'll keep it short, but wanted to recap my 100-mile ultra. I stopped filming at around mile 50 for two reasons. One, it was nighttime and dark out. Wouldn't have seen anything other than me talking. And two, I was in a deep pain cave and wanted to focus on taking care of my body and getting through the next 50 miles. Apologies for that. Before we dive into the reflection, let me share a little bit of background and context. My Yeti 100-miler, again in Damascus, Virginia, in September, was my first ultramarathon. It didn't go well. We had torrential rain for the first 12 hours, and I suffered at the time what I thought was a hip injury, mile 71, so I had to drop out and DNF'd. Just prior to that race, Jason Green, the race director, opened up a virtual 100-mile Yeti challenge that could be completed anytime up until December 31. Once I DNF'd in September, there's no question in my mind. I wanted to go for the virtual and achieve one of my goals for 2020, which was to do my first 100-mile ultramarathon and actually finish. I planned to do the virtual 100-mile ultra in Waveny Park in New Canaan. So a bit more on that. It's my home course. It's a groomed trail, fairly runnable, about a 3-mile loop. In fact, this was the hardest thing I've ever done, both physically and mentally. To be out there alone for 100 miles, more than 24 hours, including running through the whole night, dealing with injuries, which I'll get to in a minute, was the hardest thing I've ever done. So let's talk a little bit about the race. I started around 5:30, 5:45 on Friday morning, and I started, well, I had no issues the first 40 miles, and I would stop by my car, my aid station, about every 10 miles or so about every 3 loops. I carried my ultra direction 2-bottle pack with me. Between mile 40 and 50, I started to seriously hurt. My glutes, my hams, my calves, my feet, my shins, everything was starting to hurt. It was not looking good. By mile 50, I started to feel my right hip collapse, which means I wasn't able to maintain my balance, and I was leaning to the right. Imagine someone who's drunk and trying to walk a straight line. that was me. It felt like the same injury I had in the September Yeti, except it was the other hip. However, it really wasn't the hip. It was my lower back. I have 2 herniated discs in my lower back, L1 and L2. These are lumbar vertebrae that I researched and talked to some medical experts are key in supporting our body weight, supporting our spine all the way up to our neck and head, providing balance, absorbing shock and stress, and providing sensory signals to our legs to move. So kind of key to have those vertebrae not malfunction, if you will. So a few things I worked on for my September Yeti. I had a relatively short turnaround time of about 2 months, and that included recovery from my Yeti 100 in September, and then also tapering from my virtual Yeti. So didn't leave more than maybe 5-6 weeks of solid training, but I made good use of that. There's 2 weeks where I hit 50 miles and 1 week where I hit 60 miles, and I did a bunch of long runs, 20-25 milers. I did quite a bit of technical trail running on the Appalachian Trail. So at 50 miles, I was not feeling good, and I did not want to think about the fact that I had another 50 miles to go. So a few things I did different physically and mentally. First, I stopped running and walking and essentially switched to power walking as best I could. 2 is I grabbed my Black Diamond Carbon Z trekking poles and used them starting at 50 miles. They were a lifesaver. Taking preventative measures and starting to use them before the injury became totally debilitating was a lifesaver. Third, I made more frequent stops at the aid station. So instead of every 10 miles, I started cutting down to every 2 loops, so about every 6 miles. And as the race progressed and my pain increased, I had to stop every 3 miles. Unfortunately, that meant I was slowing down a lot, and my time on my feet would be extended substantially. So I crossed my first 50 miles at 11 hours, 18 minutes. And that included slowing down a lot between mile 40 and mile 50. My second 50 miles was around 17 plus hours. My net moving time is 24 hours and 45 minutes, which is pretty decent considering I was walking the second half. My total elapsed time for the race, which is my true time, is 28 hours and 24 minutes. So almost 4 hours of my total time was spent basically at the aid station, and mostly in the second half. Sitting in my car, taking the pressure off my lower back, giving it a little bit of a break so I could head back out. A few other things to share, because the town did not give me permission to run overnight and park overnight in Waveny Park. I was forced to change the course once it got dark. So I continued running in the park until probably 8 p.m. There were a lot of other runners and walkers still in the park, so I felt that, hey, I was going to continue. And then the park started emptying around 8, and I modified my course to stay out of the park itself. There are also coyotes in the park, and they've been known to attack people and pets, so I also didn't want to take that risk. Another good reason to stay out of the park at night. I had other pains and injuries to deal with besides my lower back. So both of my ankles and lower shins were extremely painful, swollen, and bruised. So I had pain emanating and sending shockwaves through my body from both my lower back and my ankles and shins. I also had major stomach or GI issues, particularly later in the race. And I think at mile 79, I just lost whatever food I had in me and hurled it not pretty. I did have a few low points, and I think I adopted a strategy of just going every 5 or every 10 miles mentally and saying, okay, can I get from 50 to 60? I never wanted to think about, oh my God, I'm at 60 miles, I've got 40 miles more to go. That's not a good approach, and it's not a good place to be. I also want to give a shout out to everyone who supported me. There's no question in my mind I could not have finished without the love and support of the entire community. There's a lot of time I spent going through the night with my trekking poles, putting one foot in front of the other, just trying to keep moving and keep going and finish this thing. So thanks everyone, and this is something that we did together. Gonna get a little emotional here, but we did it. We're done. First ultra, 100 miles, done. The most awesome moment was watching the sunrise Saturday morning over Waveny Park and being able to do the last bit back in Waveny Park. Those last 2 miles, mile 98 to 100, was probably the most painful, but also the most satisfying 2 miles I've ever done in my life. I just want to tell you guys, I'm gonna be 58 in December. I'm not an elite runner. I'm not even a front of pack runner. But if I can do this, you can do this. And until we go out and try, we don't know. And anything is possible. So let's go out and do great things. No limits. I'm still processing. It's been 24 hours. Leave me a comment below. What's the hardest thing you've ever done? Running or non-running, doesn't matter. And what did you learn about yourself? Also, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up so YouTube can share it with other people and be interested. And if you haven't subscribed to follow my journey, we'd really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button. Thanks, and on to the next big thing.